I'm Dieter Koch. I teach oboe and chamber music at Washburn University in Topeka, Kansas. And that was the opening of Handel's Sonata No. 1 for oboe, the 2020-2021 audition piece for Kansas All-State and All-District Band. The first movement of the sonata has some challenges which can really help us grow as oboists. Challenge number 1, we need to keep time while holding this long C, a note that some of us may not have learned to love yet. My favorite solution is to practice playing an 8-note pulse on the longer notes. For this first bar, we need to account for 8 eighth notes. So we'll play 7 Cs, then the final 2 16th notes are on the final pulse, like this. This has an added benefit of encouraging a nice shape to the phrase. See if you can give every 8th note direction. Can you sustain the line all the way to bar 4? Once you can take out the added notes and play as written. If you're having a hard time picking a tempo, go to bar 12. This little dialogue between higher and lower notes, called Appoggiatura, or musical size, can help find a good tempo. I do this. That's too slow. That's going to be a burden to try to make it all the way through. Let's see if I can try a different tempo. That might be a little bit too fast. Now, there's no exactly right tempo. I think something around 70 is good, but I'll try it again and see if I can find a pace that lets me really sing. The second challenge are the trills in the first movement. Don't panic and keep time. In Baroque music, trills are often used to heighten the harmonic tension within a piece. The editors here have suggested a number of trills near cadences or phrase endings, and these mostly serve to just slightly delay our arrival. They build anticipation. If you struggle with the trills, take a nice deep breath and simplify. Start by adding a simple appoggiatura. I'll do one in bar 7. Just adding a little lean, the B flat to A, so that I have the idea, the harmonic idea in my ear. Once you have that, see if you can add another one. So 2 downward motions, B flat to A. Feel free to add more, but make sure to keep the pulse and to land on the written note before the resolution. The last oddity I'll discuss in this movement is its ending. It seems to end in bar 16 when we get back to the C after the trill. But then it goes on. This sonata is a little different from many classical era sonatas by folks like Mozart and Beethoven. It follows the conventions of a church sonata. These usually have 4 movements, slow, fast, and have this peculiar key change before the second movement. So here, we finish the piece in measure 16 in the key of C minor, but then we shift to G major briefly in anticipation of the next movement. Try to make the pickups to the big beat 4 of measure 16 feel like you're interrupting yourself to add an entirely new thought. We need to convey confidence that we really intend to move to the dominant G at the very last moment. The second movement. The second movement has 2 related challenges. First, the tempo, and then breathing. If you go too fast, the 16th note passages get treacherous and nervous sounding. They need to remain calm. However, if you go too slow, finding good places to breathe gets really hard, and you'll have less flexibility with longer elided phrases. The tempo you choose for the Allegro needs to be based on what you can do with measures 9 through 12. Use your metronome. Practice calmly with confidence. I like to do several variations on rhythm and articulation to help get my fingers as even as possible. I'll demonstrate just a few. Feel free to go slower. It's a totally inappropriate articulation for an actual performance, but it can help us really coordinate what our eyes are seeing and what our fingers are doing. Another variation might be to add a triplet rhythm. And so forth, until you can play the whole thing comfortably. Once you've smoothed out the fingers in 9 through 12, see how that tempo works at the beginning of the piece. It should sound like a fugue, because in many ways it is. If you don't know what a fugue is, I highly recommend you look it up. So that tempo works out okay. Make sure you go back and forth, and whatever you can do with the 16th notes, you can do at the beginning, and vice versa. The other idea I hinted at before that makes it hard to breathe are these alighted cadences. That's where the end of one idea is the start of a new idea. The first example happens almost right away in bar 3. The C on the end of beat 3 is both the end of the first phrase and a launching point for the phrase that follows. That's kind of a stopping point. but it's also the pickup. So that's an example of an elision. This one isn't so tricky because we are so near the beginning of the piece, we really don't need to breathe. The most complex example of elisions happen in bars 27 through 37. Here, Handel is stringing together various ideas that he's introduced throughout the movement. They aren't resolved, really, until bar 37 or even beyond. Ideally, we play at a tempo that allows us to get all the way to bar 33. Here, we can use the rest to help us get rid of some air and get new air in. If possible, get a good breath at the beginning of bar 35. One extra note, although some of the additions the Carl Fischer included may have staccato notes, try to keep them just lightly separated, not too harshly tongued. I hope some of these ideas help you in your preparation and performance of Handel's Sonata No. 1. Again, my name is Dieter Koch. I teach oboe and chamber music at Washburn University in Topeka, Kansas. Thank you for watching.